Hello and welcome to the Now Spinning Magazine podcast with me, Phil Aston. And on this episode, I'm delighted to have with me Herman Rarebell from the Scorpions, Michael Schenker Group. As you can see behind me, those of you who are watching on video, I've got lots of Scorpions albums. I've been a fan for a long time.
Oh, super.
And right from Taken by Force, the first album I bought where you were on it, Herman. It's a great honor to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you very much for this, So now I know who bought the album.
Indeed. But I know the core part of your career, and what I want to focus on here is this new album called Herman Rarebell and Friends, called What About Love, where you've picked some wonderful songs from the 80s to re-record and reinterpret, and the interpretations are just wonderful. I mean, tell me a bit, Herman, first of all, about the band that you have around you to sing and perform this music with you.
Well, I'll tell you first about Michael Voss, who is a longtime friend of mine. He's a great singer, and he, on the first Temple of Rock album with Michael Schenker, he was our singer, and Phil Way, as you know, was our bass player.
Yeah.
So Pete Way, Pete Way.
Yes, Pete, yeah.
Pete, not Phil. Phil is the singer, I know. So then in these days, I got to know him, and we did the first Japanese tour. So when I said to him, I would like to make an album, with all cover songs and make a tribute to the 80s,
Yeah.
He said to me, well, let me produce it with you, let me be your co-producer. I also can play all the guitars. I can sing everything on it as you want. And my stepdaughter is also a great singer. She can sing all the back songs. We didn't know how good she was singing then. As you can hear her sing on Love is a Battlefield and This Dreams. Yeah, I know. And also the John Jett song, I Love Rock and Roll. She's a killer singer. You saw the new video. She's a really good performer live. So how this came together. But then Michael Voss said to me, I just did the Michael Schenker album with Slash and all those people, the album before me. And I said, if you want, I know a lot of people, we can ask some people to be guests on this album. So we contacted Howard Lees, who is the original guitar player from Heart.
Yeah.
And I said to him, look, I would like to deliver the message of love finally to the people, because all around me, all I see is hate, and how can we destroy each other and make sure we be in heaven in the next 3 weeks, So I think it would be good to have a song about love and remind people about love, like John Lennon did on a much higher level.
Of course.
So anyway, as soon as he said yes, Bob Daisley, who Michael Voss also said immediately, yes, it's an honor for me, then Den Huff, the same thing. Nobody wanted any money from me. So they all did this work for nothing in their home studios. One's in Australia, Bob, and the other one's in America. So they sent me then the tape, and me and Michael mixed it then to the basic tracks we had already, which was the drums and rhythm guitars. That's how this came together. So now with the live band, it will be a different bass player here from Germany or England. I have to see. And then we can go on tour. If we tour in America, Howard offered me already to be his guitar player. So, but now I want to start in Europe, because I also have a book coming out on the 11th of April with the same title, What About Love? So I would make the book promotion and the album promotion together. So I have no idea when we're going to go for a live tour. The reaction was so far really, really fantastic. People seem to love it. So let's see how it goes in America. I hope to get in the charts with it, so it makes sense to tour it, because without having a hit, no point to tour. I learned that lesson a long time ago, So this is how it came all together. So I don't think it will be a problem to tour it once it becomes successful on Radioland, or in the old days it was MTV. Then it's time to go out. But right now I have all the musicians, great musicians. It was really good fun doing this, And it brought, for me personally, the 80s were also my golden years with the Scorpions, And we had all the hits with the Scorpions in the 80s, basically. From Rock You Like a Hurricane onwards, as you know, I wrote lyrics for that song. And the first lyrics I wrote for the band was He's a Woman, She's a Man, with Uli Ross still in the band.
Yeah.
Japan.
Remember that well.
So for me, it was a very good memory because my creative years were with the Scorpions in the 80s. I wrote about 35 songs for them, or co-wrote, Another piece
Yeah.
of in England, for example, was early in the charts. And I never forget the headline in the Melody Maker with the first song, Another Piece of Meat, And then they wrote on the headline, like Chris Welch, he wrote on there, don't mention the war, I thought it
Yeah.
was, and you see me in a kind of uniform, But
Yeah.
it made the front page,
Yeah. Yeah. Did you, because there are so many fantastic songs from this period, and obviously you are a world-class drummer, and some people might think that you might have picked songs where you could really show off how you're playing here, but you pick songs that are positive. They're about love. They're really uplifting, and the way that they're sequenced. Maybe In the Air Tonight is obviously feels more obvious because it's got such a drum backbeat, but the others are all positive, uplifting songs.
I can explain to you why I picked In the Air Tonight, because as you know, Phil Collins is a drummer like me, and we both tend to be in the more heavy direction. I also know he was a big Bonham fan like me,
Yeah.
I can hear it on the playing. So, but I remember when this song came out in '81, I will never forget it. And I'm sitting in the tour bus and we're listening in America as a rock station. And suddenly I hear as a drummer, boom, 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 boom. I go, what was this,
Yeah.
And this was a killer fill. I think every drummer on this planet loved it, So if you're a drummer, you have to have that song on there. Then all the other people, I have personal adventures with. I toured with them, for example, with Foreigner, the second song, many times. We made festivals together. Whitesnake and Scorpions go back at least 20.
Yeah.
All the big festivals, many tours together, headliner, co-headliner. So it had to be Here I Go Again. Robert Palmer moved to Milano, and we were personal friends because I lived in the south of France in Monaco. So we visited each other. He came to my wedding. So we became friends. So I wanted to honor the song Addicted to Love to him. Then the record company obviously said to me, you have to take 2 Scorpion songs. So I took 2 of mine, Rock Me Like a Hurricane and Passion Rules the Game. And Passion Rules the Game, Klaus wrote the lyrics and I wrote the music. So, and Rock Me Like a Hurricane was different. But then also, since I have the girl in the band, we did another second song, The Streams from Heart. And I insisted actually on I Love Rock and Roll because she was our opening act on the 1984 tour in Europe, John Jett. So I heard this song every night in the dressing room before we go out and play. And I'm thinking to myself, fucking great song, because the audience was singing it for 10 minutes after she finished her gig. They keep singing it until we start. So I said to myself, this has to be on the album. And then, of course, a Police song, which Every Breath You Take was a must for me, know. Yeah, I know Sting also personally. We had many TV shows together in Germany. So all those people I was in contact with in my active professional life in the 80s. So I thought to myself, a tribute to the 80s and the bands and the artists of the 80s. Why don't you do this? And then I make the running order. It felt good, when I practiced it. And I said to myself, this is the album. Let's see what we do. And I wanted to bring the feeling of the 80s back to the people, because then, as you remember, there was a lot of love around, a lot of optimism. People had, in general, a lovely time, especially in the summer. Everybody was sitting outside, smoking some joints, drinking some beers, and just having a good time. Make love instead of war. This was the philosophy then, And when I look at the world now, I think to myself, what happened, Herman? You played the Moscow Music Peace Festival, and we got it together, making a contact between East and West. We made Wind of Change after that, and Reagan and Gorbachev make the handshake. Also, we were the only band ever in the Kremlin. And I'm thinking, when I look at this also now, also the relationship we have now with Russia is the total opposite of love. They all hate each other, and sooner or later somebody is going to put a bomb up. I was 12 years when the Russians put atomic bombs in Cuba, and then I said, if this is World War III, Herman, That's it. You only became 12 years old, I really thought. And all the newspapers wrote, are we at war? What's happening here? And then but when I look at it back now, what everybody is doing is just making more weapons, more undersea boats, more airplanes, more machine guns, more tanks, For what? Is this the aim of us now, to kill each other? So the governments don't have to pay for all people anymore, or what is the reason here? I'm stunned, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think. Obviously, I was a huge fan of the Scorpions in the 80s, and going through the 80s, we obviously had Reagan and Gorbachev, and we were all worried about what might happen there. But of course, in the UK, the news was only on about once a day. We didn't have social media, so we just lived for music and having a good time, really. Whereas now you've got 24/7 rolling news and social media, and I think there's a lot of negativity. I think what I love about this album, Herman, is that it's a kind of music, the way you put it together, that will build bridges back to that time, but also into the future as well.
I really hope so, because the last time we built that bridge already in the Soviet.
Yeah.
It was an unbelievable experience. I can tell you this, this whole visit there. And as you know, the bands who came with us from Britain, Ozzy Osbourne was there,
Yeah.
Then you had Motley Crue and John Bon Jovi from the States, Also, I think Cinderella was there, and the band from Sebastian Bach, what they called from LA.
Skid Row, yeah.
Those bands were there, so we all jammed together on day 2, which was lovely. I did a Zeppelin song with Sebastian Bach. He's a great singer, at least at that time. So the atmosphere was really good at the stadium. I still have photos of it, and when I look at it, we achieved something really good. Also, a Russian band was there, Gorky Park were their name, They played so American, as though this is an American band, seriously. But they're all... So in those days, we came over there. I saw in the stadium about 1,000 soldiers in the middle of the stadium making a human wall to keep the fans down so they don't get too excited.
Yeah.
For this, when they took their hats off and threw them in the air, I said to Klaus, that's it. They're ready for capitalism. They're ready for the West. They're going to join probably the European Union and all this stuff, In those days, I also was in Germany at the Minsk agreement, when they all agreed, we not make a NATO big again.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Rockets, on the borderlines of Ukraine and all this. I wasn't surprised at that war at all, because I could see it cooking up every more and more, And I was very surprised also about the money situation, because I played in this country many times there, as you know, and everything is corrupt there. Here, your money,
Yeah.
So what happened to our money? We gave in the last 3 years, half of it is gone. There is no statements, there's no bills about it. It's just simply gone,
Yeah, but the Moscow Music Peace Festival, to be part of that, and I remember seeing it all unfolding. You really had the feeling that probably for the first time since the 60s, when people thought music was going to change everything, that here was another occasion where everything was coming together through the power of the universal language of music.
That's what I think to this day. In fact, I talked to the other day to some people in Russia who urged me to do a Moscow Peace Festival Part 2 again,
Yeah.
But I don't even think they would let us in.
No.
This philosophy is not welcome there. It's not welcome anywhere at the moment. I think there's too many people who make a lot of money on the build-up, for the next war. Imagine how much a tank is, how much an undersea boat is, how much an airplane is. You could feed whole cities with this in England and Germany, and out the window it goes,
Yeah.
Now, in Germany, putting the army up 800 billion pounds, okay? Any more questions?
Very true. I mean, the other thing I'd like to talk to you about is the arrangements of the songs, because especially on I Want to Know What Love Is, this is a beautiful arrangement, Herman, because of the way that the male and female vocals work with each other.
I was thinking, and I put her also in the answer thing, and Passion Rules the Game. I saw Passion Rules the Game. They sing this also, both of them. I love her singing. When I heard her the first time, because he said we need some backup vocals, I heard her sing. And I said to her, can you also sing solo songs? I said, sing, and she started to sing, and my hair went up on my arm.
Yes. I could, yeah. Totally. In fact, that one, "Passion Rules the Game" from this album, "Savage Amusement," it's a very different arrangement to the, isn't it? But it works so well.
And there's a new guitar solo in there too.
Yeah.
I put a more melodic solo in there because I always heard this, and I said this to Matthias in the early years, but he never came up with it. So this, for the first time, Michael Voss played the solo, and I think it's the long work with Michael Schenker. I can hear the melodies and everything. But I was really happy when I heard the solo, Then I heard her sing, also giving him the answers. So look, she did the same, and I Want to Know What Love Is. The next single you're going to hear is, you saw this one, Love Is a Battlefield.
Yeah, it's brilliant, yeah.
I think so too. The next one you're going to hear is Passion Rules the Game, with them, both of them singing. And then just before the release, I Want to Know What Love Is. I like to carry that song into the summer, because then we have 4 titles with love, because I really want to remind people on love again, Where does this complete hate come from? Aren't we became so stupid that we don't realize hate is not going to bring us anything? In atomic war, there is no winners. Even if you have a bunker in your house, and if you open up the Luke after 5 years, you'll be dead immediately. Radioactivity. Yeah. And are we become stupid, or what is the reason for all this?
No, it's about. It's being kind, isn't it? It's about listening and being open to other people's opinions and stuff. And another song that really works well, they all do, is "A Sweet Child of Mine." That's a different type of arrangement as well, isn't it?
She wanted to. I didn't want to have it on the album, to be honest with you. And she said to me, "Oh, please let me put this on the album, because my singing is so good in there. I love my singing." So I said, "Okay, for you, I do this. It's on the album." So it was before the 12th song. But then I said to them, this is funny enough for you, I said, "Yeah, we leave this song as like a kind of a ballad. Just take 2 acoustic guitars in the middle and go out and play, so I have time to go for a piss, So I was just joking about it. Now they took this serious, So we're probably going to play in the middle a Scorpion song, an old one of mine, "You Give Me All I Need," or "Always Somewhere," for example. Then this new one, and then go back and introduce 3 or 4 new songs from the album. I also like to play, of course, my classics, with the Blackout, "Make It Real," "Another Piece of Meat," "Diamond."
Oh, yes.
I'm going to play them also, because this is my writing, this is my words. So I definitely want to do this, I just did the same with an orchestra, Scorpion Song Symphonic, which was great. Wow. Yeah, it was really good fun doing. I did most concerts were in Poland and Czechoslovakia, and the audience there in the East, they're really crazy, because they don't get as many bands as we are used to. We are spoiled, especially in England, All the good are English. That's the reason why I came there when I was a young man. I was 21 years, and I thought everybody would wait for me in England. Of course, nobody waited for me. So after 1 month, my money was empty, and I had to survive as a taxi driver. I also worked once as I worked in the High Park corner in the fall, picking up the leaves, from the ground, for the job. So it was no licking honey all the time. When I arrived here in England, I learned the hard way that really nobody waited for me here. I had a band then called Vineyard. You remember them?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just played on the weekends, in all the pubs. So every night we made at least 30, 40 pounds each, that's all. So you could eat something and pay your rent. I had an apartment in Notting Hill. It cost me £60 a week. Now they want to sell the same apartment for £2.5 million. I said to the owner, "Who's going to buy this?" He said, "Nobody from England, John." He said,
very true. And there are 2 songs from Heart from originally from the same album.
Yeah.
Obviously you've got Howard Leese on guitar, but was that particular album by Heart, or Heart themselves, a big favourite of yours?
Well, number one, I remember the time when this song was about 21 months number one. Wait, I close the door. My dog is going.
That's okay.
Shut up. No. No. Right. No. So I had this song on my mind a long time, because I always thought it was a beautiful song.
Yeah.
And then when the times changed, when this war started 3 years ago, of course I followed everything up. in England as here in Germany, looking at the news, and then I noticed, you have to give a message to the world and to your musician. And I admire John Lennon always for Imagine, because that was a clear message, And this is also a clear message. What about love? What happened to love? So Howard, who loved the idea, immediately said, yes, this is a great thing. I want to be on this. And Dan Huff, too. He plays the first lead guitar solo.
Oh, yeah, that's brilliant solo. Absolutely fantastic.
This guy is a killer,
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
I said to him, you want to be in the video? He goes, no, I'm 65 now. I don't want to be seen anymore. Which is, I think it's funny. But anyway, that's my son. And Jim Valance, who wrote the song, he's now in the video on the piano. That's Jim Valance.
Ah, cool.
So, but anyway, on the album, most of the album now, the bass was played by Michael Voss. Obviously, when we go out, we will either employ Bob Daisley, and he has to fly over from Australia, where he lives now. But that only makes sense if we do a tour.
Of course.
It makes sense if he makes 3 gigs and then he flies back to Australia again, comes back the next week, and it's too costly.
That's not going to work, no.
It's not going to work. So what we're going to do, I have a band for Europe, and Howard said to me, if you want to tour America, plan me in. So I said, okay, good to know. So the rest will be easy in America. I take Michael Voss with me then to the States, then Van der Forst, so I need the singers. And I will take a keyboard player, probably Neil Carter, who lives in Brighton with me. He just played on the solo album from Phil Mogg.
Mogg's Motel. Yeah, it's a good album. Yeah.
Him all the time. He lives 5 streets from me,
Wow.
Yeah, he lives in Sandine, I live in Marine Parade in Brighton, and Marine Parade, you are in Sandine. That's where he lives. Michael just got a house there too.
Brilliant. Yeah.
We all in this circle. I may be going tour also with Michael, because he made an acoustic album and I played drums on it. But the record company is going to release it in 26 in the fall. So that's a long time until that.
Yeah, that's a long time. That's a long way off. Yeah.
But if it takes off, then I will be on that tour with Michael,
Yeah, so if you do manage to do some gigs or a tour with this album, you said you mentioned you would be doing some of your key songs from the Scorpions, and that would be Blackout. Which other ones would you slot in?
I would start with Rocky Like a Hurricane, obviously.
Of course.
Then I would do a second song. I would go to Passion Rules the Game. Then Make It Real, I really like to do. Then Tease Me, Please Me, I would like to do. Then I would like to do a ballad, Always Somewhere. Maybe Still Loving You, and would be my Scorpion songs. I would do 6, 7 Scorpion songs, and then I would go into Here I Go Again. Maybe play Addicted to Love. Maybe.
Of course, yeah. There's those as well, isn't there?
Then you're ready to sing with now. The last song will be I Love
Rock and Roll,
and then we can work off, and everybody can sing it. But I can see those shows in the summer. Maybe not this summer, but next summer. This is perfect for open air, because everybody in our age can sing along. They all know those songs in and outside. And all those songs, are classic, really classic hits. Like I Want to Know What Love Is was for me the biggest love hymn ever of all times,
There's something so inspirational and full of optimism about that song, isn't there? There's something, even the original video, there's something about it that just draws you in, that makes you, slows you down and makes you aware of just the humanity of it, really.
Absolutely. And makes you aware what's really important in life.
Yes.
For me, it is still love, because that's what we did in the video. Here's the family is the most important thing, and the love, especially when you get old. I'm 75. Now, if I have no love in my life and I have nobody to look after me, I'd be fucked big time, I tell you this, Because nowadays, when you go in a hospital in Germany and you have somebody to look after you, you're talking about 8,000 to 10,000 pounds a month, okay, like this. Because no more people. Nobody wants to do that work anymore. So if you get somebody to look after yourself, you have to pay them twice as much as you do, for example, in England. At least you have a health service in England.
That's true. Yeah.
But I had a waiting time of 8 months. I had double hernia.
Yeah.
Looked at the book, NHS, and he said, oh, you need to have this done urgently. I said, when do you have a place? He said, in 8 months. And I told him, but I'm a private person. He said, no, not in England. In England, everybody is equal.
Everyone's the same, yeah. Yeah,
So
that's
I
true.
went to Germany. I flew the next day to Germany, and he took me immediately the next morning. He said, when you're free, and I said, well, I'm here now. We'll come tomorrow at 9. So,
And finally, I just want to say that obviously the Scorpions, it's a heavy. People might look back at different bands and see them as heavy metal bands from the 80s, but there was something very unique, still is, about the Scorpions. You had these full-on, really heavy metal songs like, Blackout, etc., but you also had these beautiful ballads that are timeless, that did bring people together. Winds of Change, as you said, the other ones. Every album had this light and shade as well, didn't it?
well, we had an agreement. I wrote all the dirty rock songs, rocks and rock and roll, as you know, and
Yeah.
Klaus was a very romantic man, so he wrote all those ballads.
Yeah.
Were written towards his wife. It started with a half a ballad called No One Like You, which became the first hit in the charts in America. But all the others also, one of my favorites is Still Always Somewhere, for example.
Oh, brilliant song.
Then
Absolutely love that.
Send Me an Angel by the Killer.
Yeah.
So all those songs, this is directly the line Rudolf Schenker and Klaus Meine. They're, for me, the best ballad writers in the world. And the mix was very good. Even before I joined in the band, as you know, we had also Uli Roth in the band, who was a big Hendrix fan.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
When I saw the band the first time in the Marquis, I said to them, they asked me, so what do you think? And I said, well, to be honest with you, I can see two directions. I can see one direction which goes Jimi Hendrix for a three-piece band, and then I hear the melodic rock band like Foreigner, Uriah Heep, this kind of direction, which is Klaus Meine and Rudolf Schenker's songwriting. So I said, for me, you have to make a decision which way you want to go. Thank God that decision was taken from us from the first Japanese tour, because he decided to make his own band, electric.
Yeah.
And then we got for the Love Drive album, Michael Schenker. I talked to him and I said, come on, we got no guitar player and you want to leave UFO, which he did, and then he came and played on Love Drive, the complete album. He played on Another Piece of Meat, that Simon solo.
Superb.
Everything superb. He wrote Holiday and all this stuff. So he's just a brilliant player. I love him. That's 50 years now. We know each other.
Yeah.
For me, he's the best guitar player in the world, really. He's like a Jeff Baker or a Brian May.
He is, because he's so melodic as well. It's so melodic. So it's so beautifully. It plays from the heart. It absolutely does.
Every time I record with him, my hair stands up because he plays from the heart and his soul. It goes through me. And then I close my eyes, we are telepathic. So when I play, he knows exactly what I play.
Oh, brilliant.
I can't wait to play the acoustic album for Michael. I'm not allowed to yet, but as soon as it will be allowed to give to the press, you'll be the first one, and then I contact you.
Brilliant. Oh, thank you very much.
Well, write me an email so I have your email address. Yeah?
I will definitely do that, Herman. Thank you. So I just want to say as a reminder that Herman Rarebell and the Friends, What About Love, is out on April the 11th. And if people want to check out where you are, it's hermanrarebell.com.
Yeah.
And obviously there's going to be the video for Love is a Battlefield is already out. And what's the other video that's also out? I have watched it. It's the Heart one, isn't it?
Yeah, that is What About Love. And then
What About Love, yeah.
On the 28th of this month of March will be the next one, Passion Rules the Game. And on the day of the album release, on the 11th of April, then we will come out with the last video for now, What About Love, So we have 4 songs then about love. I think that's enough. And it's the best songs for me anywhere on the album are those 4 songs.
They are indeed. Well, thanks very much, Herman, for all your time today. Take care. It's been wonderful to talk to you, and hopefully I'll talk to you again in the future. So
I can promise you.
Thank you. Thank you. So huge thank you to my guest, Herman Rarebell from Scorpions and the Michael Schenker Group. This album, Herman Rarebell and Friends, What About Love, is out on April the 11th, or probably already out by the time you listen to this or watch it back. It's superb. It's a great selection of songs. And when you see them like this, you realize just how powerful and optimistic and full of hope these songs were collectively. And they've been picked for that reason. So they haven't been picked because Herman's got a chance to show off his drum chops or whatever. It's because they're songs and they link in. And this is all about love. It's beautifully sequenced. But what I also like about it is the fact the arrangements are different, but also having the male and female vocals, especially on I Want to Know What Love Is by Foreigner, and the acoustic, almost ballad, countryish version of Sweet Child of Mine is also fantastic. But I love the heart tracks. I love all of this. The one that is probably the nearest to the original is probably Rocky Like a Hurricane, because it has to be, doesn't it? But Passion Rules the Game, which is off one of my favorite Scorpions albums, Savage Amusement, is very different. But it's absolutely spectacular. It has to end with I Love Rock and Roll. In the Air Tonight is just the perfect opener. There's Whitesnake on there as well, with Here I Go Again. It's great. And of course, the female vocals on Love is a Battlefield is also beautiful. I love the heart songs. It's a great album. It's out on April 11th. Check out Herman's website at hermanrarebell.com for all his latest news. And I do hope this turns into a tour. It'll be fantastic. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Remember to check out the website at nowspinning.co.uk and also the podcast and whichever social media channel you're on. So are we. If you become a patron or YouTube member, you can get access to our private groups on WhatsApp and on Facebook. You can get discounts on Now Spinning merch and T-shirts and coffee mugs and all sorts of stuff as well. And remember, music is the healer and the doctor. So take care, all of you. Keep spinning those discs, and I'll talk to you all very, very soon.